So presentation. This is going to be really simple. We've been talking about presentation, how to present things for a while, so it's not going to be super new on a lot of things, but we're going to try to be very specific to PowerPoint presentations and what you need to do, not to do. I'm going to ask you a series of questions. These are what you should be asking yourselves before you give a presentation. Okay? Mm-hmm. Can you present your material naturally without reading your slides word for word? Again, teaching is a dialogue. And if I'm teaching you guys and all of a sudden something comes on the screen and I turn to the screen and I just read from the beginning to the top a bunch of bullet points and my whole focus is now on the screen. It's like me and you, I've joined you guys now and all of our attention is going to be up there. That's not what you want to see happen. Can you present your material naturally? Naturally. Super important. Next, is the equipment working? And do you know how to make it work? Do you know how to work it? This is huge, okay? Know what you're working with. Know your computer, know the ins and outs. Practice it. Get here early. Hook it up. See how it works and if it's working. Oh my goodness. Check, check, recheck. Practice with the exact equipment if you have the ability.
Including going from a distance to see if you can actually read it yourself.
Absolutely. Including going to the back of the room.
Like a sound check, except not.
Totally. Do a sound check. Learn how to do all of these things. Very helpful. Next one. Is your timing on track? Are you keeping time with your slides, or are your slides getting horribly neglected? Here's the thing. If you don't have a slide for every single thing you do, you might forget when you're doing something that you had a slide for that thing. You'd be surprised how often that happens.
You can print out your PowerPoint.
You can print out your PowerPoint.
Yeah, that's true.
So you can have all of your slides on a sheet of paper so that you can see when you flip, oh, I've got a slide that goes to that.
Write it in your notes.
Or write it in your notes.
Next
Yeah,
slide.
Slide.
That's what I do.
I've even seen people who are ahead enough that they actually have like a little picture of the slide next to that point so that they can see slide, what it is on that slide, and then continue on with their stuff. You have to be pretty prepped for that.
Practice with the slideshow.
Yep.
Practice with the slideshow. Actually, I think naturally you're going to do this better if you use presentation right. If you use the PowerPoint presentation correctly, then you're going to be emphasizing your points and not just like restating the same points over and over again. And so it's going to come to mind because you're like, I want to hit this home. How do I do that? Oh yeah, I have this in my tool bag. Yeah. Handy. Here's a simple one. Can you pronounce all the words that you plan to use?
That's regular teaching.
That's just regular teaching one. Yeah. Seriously, don't use words you can't say. Unless it's the name of a Bible character, learn it. Practice it, phonetically spell it out, try it again.
Actually, you can go on the dictionary online and hear it.
Yep.
That's true. Give me words.
It is awesome.
Supernatural.
Here's one. Have you decided how you're going to introduce your slide? Here's the best speakers I've ever seen. They don't just throw something up there, they introduce it. They make you want to see it. They're like, oh, by the way, we're going to see a picture of what it really looked like to walk in Jesus' time. And they put up a ridiculous photo. And you're like, that's today. You know, but they make it funny, or they make it applicable, or they draw your interest into it before you even get to it. Do that. I haven't done that much, but do that.
Do it.
Yes. Here's one we hit on. Are your slides appropriate for your audience? Is it appropriate? Have someone check it. Also, they'll check for spelling mistakes and grammar mistakes and those little things. Even you just looking back through it will help with some of those things. Next, are you prepared for the worst? Worst case scenario for me, last year, teaching Zechariah, one of the last few books of the quarter, my very last teaching, power goes out. I did 2 hours of my Zechariah lecture with no power. If you know anything about the book of Zechariah, you know the whole thing's visions. So yeah, did I have a PowerPoint ready? Yes. Did I have a backup plan? Thank you, Jesus. Yes, I did. I had each one of the visions printed out, and I used them to show the chiastic structure of the book. That's why I printed them out. But I'm thankful I had them, because without a printed out version, I would have had 0 visual stimulation for my students. And it happened, and you couldn't help it. I mean, powers don't happen all the time here, but it did happen here, and I'm sure it's going to happen overseas. So Murphy's Law, what is it?
Always.
Anything bad that will happen will happen.
Yeah. Anything bad, anything that can go wrong is going to go wrong. Anything bad that will happen. So prepare for it. And pray over it. Let's throw a little element of this. Pray over your electronics.
Yeah.
Sounds silly? Not silly. Okay, so let's recap. Because these are kind of the 3 main things I saw in summary of everything we've covered today. Don't be lazy.
No.
Don't be lazy. Don't clump everything together on one slide. Don't use PowerPoint as a crutch. Don't let it be your last resort when putting together something. Don't think, oh my gosh, okay, shoot, Matt's visual, Ainsley's sort of visual, Anna's visual, Josh's visual. I need something visual. What's the best thing I can do? PowerPoint. And then put no time into it at all. Don't do that. Don't be lazy. 2, keep it simple. Keep it super simple. Steve Jobs is regarded as one of the best presenters of all time. I mean, you just have to look at this guy. There are books, multiple books written about how he presents things. And his whole motto is simple. Of course, it's because he's a Zen Buddhist and he believes in, simplifying everything. But it was effective. Sometimes it takes more restraint to be simple. It's like Picasso. Sometimes Picasso would take something. I remember doing this illustration where you're trying to put pictures in the order that you thought Picasso had done it, and it was a bowl or something. And we all started with the skeletal outline and moved to this big beast of an animal, but it's like, no, Picasso went the opposite direction. He took the big animal picture, then he started scaling it down, scaling it down, scaling it down, scaling it down, until he got to where he wanted it. Steve Jobs, very similar when it comes to PowerPoint presentation. He scaled things down until it was as simple as could be. He's known for being a one word on a slide guy. One word or no words at all. If a picture would do, he just did a picture. That's why he created Keynote, is because it was more picture focused, more visually stimulating. He's also known for saying this: people who know what they're talking about don't need PowerPoint. People who know what they're talking about don't need it. And yet, he created a PowerPoint presentation, like a slideshow presentation program. He recognizes the need for it, but he's saying you don't have to have it. It's not a crutch. It's not going to get you anywhere. He just used it to better equip his speakings. And then the last thing I think is important is know your purpose in why you're putting together PowerPoint. Know your purpose. Don't let it be a cop-out. Use it to help enhance what you're already saying. I didn't like PowerPoint because I thought they were overused, poorly constructed. They were a crutch, but I'm actually really excited to learn how to use it appropriately. To emphasize where emphasis needs it, and yeah, it's exciting. We can do this!
Yay!
Yay!
This is it.